time to move on to The Phantom Menace. We suffered through The Power of Many. 8 half-hour to hour-ish long episodes of just pure garbage out of the way. Time to cleanse the soul with The Phantom Menace. This prequels era is going to be great. I'm actually very excited to be going back over each and every one of these. I don't want to waste any time talking. I just want to get right into it. The classic logo, back when it wasn't owned by a soulless corporation. Yes! Man, I don't know how much actual talking I'm gonna do during this because I'm just gonna be invested in watching the entire time. This is a proper introduction for Star Wars. From the original trilogy to the prequels, the text crawl is a necessity to a Star Wars story, and Disney has erased it. My god, man. The font, the color, the starry background, which always, every time, transitions directly into what is about to happen. It's just amazing.
Yes, of course. As you know, our blockade is perfectly legal.
This way, please.
You notice that the Nemodians actually have the proper accent?
I have a bad feeling about this.
I don't sense anything.
It's not about the mission, Master. It's something elsewhere.
I think the craziest part is that the Phantom Menace was $115 million to make. $115 million! That is literally half of The Acolyte. Adjusted for inflation, probably roughly around the same budget as The Acolyte.
These Federation types are cowards. The negotiations will be short.
What? What did you say?
The ambassadors are Jedi Knights.
They're here to force a settlement. Are you brain dead? I'm not going in there with 2 Jedi.
What is it?
The blockade is finished. We dare not go against the Jedi.
I don't want this stunted slime in my sight again to accelerate our plans.
My lord, is that legal?
I will make it legal.
That's Trudeau when he's talking to his cabinet. I don't know, man. Half the budget, 25 years old, and it looks fucking phenomenal. It still looks great. It really, like, there's a few scenes here and there that the green screen or blue screen isn't gonna match up to the standards or quality that some of the shots in this movie have. It's gonna be a little inconsistent here and there, but 25 years old. Look at the battle droids, man. Oh, and listen to that. Actual Star Wars music. Not The Power of Many.
I want droidekas up here at once!
That won't be
Close the blast door!
This is very important, by the way. Qui-Gon cutting through very, very thick doors, blast doors with the lightsaber. Literally melting the blast doors apart. I just want you all to remember that when we get to things like Ahsoka and Kenobi. And that's the only time you will see force speed like that ever be used.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
Ah, man, there's so many good, just, like, one-liners in this movie. It's fucking great. I like the accent. It makes them unique. It makes them stand out. And the locations that they go to film, they're just amazing. Like, it felt like The Acolyte was filmed in 2 locations. Some caves and a hallway. A couple hallways. Oh, and Coruscant, the Jedi Temple.
I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war.
25 years old. 25 years old. And this is where the movie falls apart for a lot of people. You want my honest opinion? I will take Jar Jar all day over The Power of Many.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
What's this?
What's this?
But the most safest place would be Gunga City.
Jar Jar being one of the first ever full 3D animated characters in a movie. Pretty impressive. Definitely didn't age the best. I will admit that.
My forgotten.
Like I said, a lot of inconsistencies in this movie with the CGI in terms of how it aged, but there are scenes in this entire movie, many scenes in this movie, that are just simply still stunning. Jar Jar sadly not being the case here. He is not aged well. Although I will say, I think he has grown on a very large portion of people. He's no longer the hated individual or alien that he was 20 or so years ago. Like I said, a lot of people, this ruined Star Wars for him. Jar Jar was hated.
You should follow me now, or today?
Actually, he was hated so much that a few years after The Phantom Menace was released, there was the Fandom Menace edit or cut that somebody took their time to cut down as much of the Jar Jar scenes as possible and cut it out of the film. That's how much they did not like him back then. Yeah, here's another good example of a little bit of inconsistency. Like, the floating city looks pretty good. It looks pretty good for 25 years old. Still, all of this doesn't look too bad comparing it to the Acolyte specifically. And a lot of Star Wars properties that are coming out now. Gotta remember, this is 115 million 25 years ago.
Hey, you sir, stop it there. You are in big doo-doo this time. How?
Ah, Boss Nass, here we go.
You sir cannot be here. We shall no like the Naboo.
You and the Naboo form a symbiont circle. What happens to one of you will affect the other. You must understand this.
I can't lie. Watching this probably for the first time in theater, for most people, they were probably sitting there thinking, what the actual fuck is going on?
Any help here would be hot.
Classic. I will say as well that the outrage of the Gungans, apparently supposed to be representing people from the Caribbean or something like that, with their big ears representing dreadlocks or something like that. I don't know, man. Sounds like the same argument people tried to make that Lord of the Rings was racist because the orcs represented black people or something like that. I don't fucking know, man. People that think that kind of stuff are just wild.
There's always a bigger fish.
Another classic. It's so cool, man. The depth of the worlds, the creativity of George Lucas, man. One of a kind, that's for sure.
They will have no choice but to accept your control of the system.
And I gotta point out, I will obviously be praising the original trilogy just like this as well, to an even higher standard, because they used pretty much all practical when it came to the originals. They didn't have the CGI back then, so... Or at least not to the extent they did with this.
Losing power.
Oh, no. We should die in here.
And then you see what they do with the Acolyte, and it's just so disappointing. A disgrace to Star Wars.
Power's back.
Huh?
Even when we get to shows like Kenobi, and it's just gonna be a dumpster fire. Things like Book of Boba Fett, how cheap and poorly designed those shows are. Another amazing scene. Like, look how fucking stunning that is, man. This shot, not so much. Them walking out of the ship, not so much. I mean, even the shots of them in the Gungan sub, like, some of them are pretty damn good looking. Even this right here, this is practical. They actually built the top of that sub. Or those shots, there's a whole deleted scene of the Gungan sub falling off a waterfall. The locations they went to shoot are just amazing.
Commander.
Yes, sir.
Process them.
I also find it a little hard to believe that Jar Jar has any stealth ability.
We should leave the street, Your Highness. The negotiations never took place. It's urgent that we make contact with the Republic.
Your Highness, under the circumstances, I suggest you come to Coruscant with us. It will kill you if you stay.
They need her to sign a treaty to make this invasion of theirs legal. They can't afford to kill her.
There's no logic in the Federation's move here. My feelings tell me they will destroy you.
Senator Palpatine will need your help.
We are brave, Your Highness.
Yeah, definitely not the greatest line delivery there. We are brave, Your Highness. Not very good.
I'm taking these people to Coruscant.
Where are you taking them?
To Coruscant.
That doesn't compute. You're under arrest.
I love hearing actual Star Wars music. Fucking my god, it is so good.
Get the shield generator fixed, we'll be sitting ducks.
It's the perfect amount of practical and CGI. These movies and Lord of the Rings, that entire trilogy, a perfect prime example of more Lord of the Rings, I would even argue. But my god, look how amazing that fucking Federation ship looked.
Tatooine. The Trade Federation have no presence there.
It's impossible to locate the ship.
Not full of Sith.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
We should not have made this bargain.
Without a doubt, it saved the ship as well as our lives.
What is its number?
R2-D2, Your Highness.
Clean this droid up as best you can.
Your Highness, with your permission, we're heading for a remote planet called Tatooine.
I do not agree with the Jedi on this.
Trust my judgment.
Hello. Sorry, who's are you, sir?
I'm Padme.
Then boom! Getting very scared and grabbing that Jedi and pow!
I feel like I also need to point out I got a big soft spot for this movie. I can't lie. I do. So there's gonna be probably a lot of rose-tinted glasses while watching this movie.
A few spaceports like this one are havens for those that don't wish to be found. Some indigenous tribes and scavengers.
Very, very bad.
And you gotta love that Jar Jar has like 2 scenes in the next movie. He got the absolute boot.
Need parts for a J-type 327 Nubian?
Ah, yeah!
Me tasa jo pasa.
Chat, Captain William, it wanna know bata. So.
And so it begins.
Don't touch anything.
As much as I love Qui-Gon and Liam Neeson, he's definitely got some lines in this that are pretty wooden.
What? An angel. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe.
You're a funny little boy. How long have you been here?
You know, not the greatest acting, not the best line delivery, but it's definitely better than The Acolyte. Anybody who wants to argue otherwise, you gotta get out of Disney's pocketbook. I don't know what to tell you. You compare young Anakin to young May and Osha. Just do it. Go right ahead. Young Anakin, the acting ability, not the greatest, but my god, young May and Osha, you're not doing anybody favors by having them on screen.
Republic credits are no good out here. I need something more real.
Credits will do fine.
No, they won't.
Credits will do fine.
No, they won't. Jedi waving your hand around like that. My tricks don't work on me. Only money.
Hey.
And no one else has a T-14 hyperdrive, I promise you that.
I always loved that smug little nod. Just like, we're fucked. We're screwed.
We're leaving. Jar Jar.
Even Watto didn't age very well.
No again. No again. The bees hereabouts? Crazy. Oh, Mori.
It's actually quite shocking Jar Jar doesn't get killed at any point in Star Wars. Like, he's just one of the dumbest fucks. Like, they're on a top secret mission right now trying to fix their ship. They're not even supposed to be there. They're trying to hide from not just the CIS, but potential bounty hunters or whatever. High-class officials on this planet here on Tatooine in the ship, and they're bringing this goofy, just idiot around. Like, it's crazy that their operation doesn't get blown as soon as they walk into Mos Espa.
Never reach the outskirts in time. Sandstorms are very, very dangerous.
Another thing, they filmed in the desert, and apparently they had a lot of issues due to the crazy weather conditions and stuff. A lot of the sets and props for the sets got destroyed in the windstorms. A lot of the pod racers, they built the full-sized pod racers. They got destroyed in windstorms and dust storms, and it delayed The Phantom Menace. A lot of this project was filmed in Tunisia.
He's a protocol droid to help Mom. Watch. Oops.
Saharan Tunisia. It's pretty crazy.
I'm building a pod racer.
Building a pod racer. And 3PO, he's actually not CGI at all. He's a puppet.
I beg your pardon.
Somebody behind him doing all the movements. And they CGI cut out the guy behind him. But 3PO himself is a full-sized puppet that is controlled by a person. It's so crazy, man. The techniques, the things they had to come up with in order to make this work. And even when we get into the original trilogy, it's going to be a treat. Coruscant. Kind of looks like PS2, I'm not going to lie. Not the greatest, but for its time, I'm sure it blew a lot of people away. And Attack of the Clones, man. A lot of nice shots of Coruscant in that movie, too.
I've been well trained, my young apprentice. They will be no match for you.
I wish The Acolyte would have been about Palpatine training Darth Maul. That's what I wish it would have been. That would have made more sense. You could have had it lead directly into the Phantom Menace. Could have... The classic boom.
Don't do that again.
You're a Jedi Knight, aren't you?
What makes you think that?
I saw your laser sword.
Perhaps I killed a Jedi and took it from him.
I don't think so. No one can kill a Jedi.
Oh, Anakin. Nobody can kill a Jedi as he storms the temple and murders every fucking Jedi.
I believe you can. But first we must acquire the parts.
Waiting on nothing moolah to trade.
There's a big race tomorrow on Boonta Eve. You could enter my pod. The prize money would more than pay for the parts they need.
I'm sure Qui-Gon doesn't want to put your son in danger.
I'm sure Qui-Gon doesn't want to put your son in danger. Alright, Anakin. You're gonna race in the high-speed, high-velocity death race where they literally kill each other. I don't think Qui-Gon wants to put your son in danger.
Are you sure about this? The Queen will not approve.
The Queen will not approve. I think Qui-Gon low-key knew the entire time that she was actually the Queen. I think he actually knew. He was just playing along. My humble opinion, Qui-Gon is like one of the wisest Jedi of them all. I would say he's an underrated Jedi. I think the craziest part about all of this is we've watched about an episode's length of The Acolyte in The Phantom Menace. 45 minutes have gone by, and it hasn't even felt like it. It was a legitimate struggle getting through those Acolyte episodes. I felt legitimately every minute go by.
Nubian, huh? He smashed up on my pod in the last race. That you did, huh? The boy's good.
Really?
No doubts there, huh?
Well, I have acquired a pod in a game of chance.
I hope you didn't kill anyone I know for it, huh?
If it's going to be 50-50, I suggest you front the cash for the end. You keep all the winnings minus the cost of the parts I need. And if we lose, you keep my ship. Either way, you win.
I love that there are actual stakes in this film. I don't know, nor can I recollect what the stakes were in The Acolyte, other than the fact that everybody could die. That's really the only thing I could point out there. That plays into this movie as well. Everybody here could die, but that's not really stakes now, is it? We need some external crisis to drive the story forward.
Can you help him?
I don't know.
Keep racing, Annie. You're gonna be Bug Squad.
Adult Anakin remembers that, comes back, and just massacres them all. After he's finished at the Jedi Temple, he returns to Tatooine, gets his revenge. Not just on the Sand People, but all the people who made fun of him.
You know, I find that Jar Jar creature to be a little odd.
I wonder how many people in the theater said out loud, yeah, me too.
My marriage.
Every pod racer has a unique sound, a unique startup, a unique look. It's not just cookie cutter, cut and dry. Or like the Book of Boba Fett show where they have the colorful Vespas. I know those aren't pod racers, but you get my point, right? Like, I don't even know what the Vespas are. I really could not tell you. And when we get there, I'm going to be roasting the ever-living hell out of them.
What are you doing?
Checking your blood for infections. I need an analysis of this blood sample I'm sending you.
Reading is off the chart. Over 20,000. Even Master Yoda doesn't have a midichlorian count that high.
And this was a big argument for a lot of people as well, the midichlorian count. If only we could go back to that being the only argument.
I want to see your spaceship the moment the race is over. No funny business. Sebulba there is going to win, I think.
Qui-Gon doubling down.
Against the boy and his mother.
No pod is worth 2 slaves, not by a long shot.
The boy then.
We'll let the fate decide. I just happen to have a chance, QB. Blue, it's the boy. Red, his mother.
Fucking Jar Jar's goofy ass, man. I gotta say, man, I know it's a movie and obviously it goes the way it does, but if Anakin were to lose the race, they would actually be fucked. You break it down, they lose their ship, and Watto ends up owning them all, more or less.
This is so wizard, Annie.
You've never won a race? Not even finished?
Kitster's right. I will this time.
Yeah, even Natalie Portman's like, I don't know about that, man. It's the one time her acting was legit. And I went to see The Phantom Menace for the 25th anniversary in theaters, and there was a guy in the theater, and when the announcers came on screen, he started howling, like just dying laughing. It's like he'd never seen the movie before or something. Don't get me wrong, yeah, it's kind of funny, but obviously the CGI doesn't hold up. It's weird when you go back and forth from full CGI character, and then they have the physical, like just a guy in a costume as an alien. If you watch the extended edition, the intro for the pod race actually continues on for another like 3 or so minutes. And the actual pod race itself has about 7 minutes cut from it. So this entire section of the movie in the theatrical cut takes up a good portion of time. In the extended edition, it's even longer, man. There's like 20 minutes or so cut from it. I love the attention to detail, too. The heat from the exhaust making things distorted. The dust being kicked up.
You assume too much.
Qui-Gon schooling Padme. Ah, it's so fucking good, man. It looks incredible, too. 25 years old, man. This movie, some of the shots, yeah, they don't hold up, but a lot of these pod racing shots, for the most part, they're fucking gold.
Looks like a few Tusken Raiders are camped out on the canyon. There goes Quadranero's power coupling.
Whenever they're fully zoomed out and you see the mirage effect with the pod racers, looks incredible. A physics simulation of the engines just exploding into pieces is crazy. Their computers must have been on the brink of exploding themselves trying to render some of these shots back in '99. Holy fuck, man.
Skywalker's been forced onto the service ramp. It's Skywalker! He crashing? Supernova takes the lead!
I'm literally just watching the movie at this point. I have no commentary. I've got nothing to say. And there you have it. Man, I don't have much to say. Just so many great, well-crafted shots in that entire sequence. I actually have no idea how computers back then were able to render that. It must have taken actual days. Like, projects right now that I render on my computer that are in 3D animation, they take 10 minutes, and they're a fraction of what half the stuff is here. The detail of some of these shots, the level that I can't even imagine. And you're working on a computer that is, I don't even know what kind of hardware that thing would have had back then. Working on a Windows 97, Windows 98.
Would you like to discuss it with the Hutts? I'm sure they can settle this.
Thank you.
It started production in 97, so they literally would have been animating on Windows 97 and 98. It actually would have taken probably weeks to render a few of these shots, and one little screw up, you were like punching the air because now you have to re-render that entire thing. They must have done it in very small files. I don't even know how they would have been able to do that because the files would have been massive.
Training to become a Jedi is not an easy challenge.
But I want to go. It's what I've always dreamed of doing.
This path has been placed before you.
Yippee! Is she free too?
I tried to free your mother, Annie, but Water wouldn't have it.
Son, my place is here. My future is here.
I guess if Qui-Gon were to take them both back, it would cause the Hutts to step in, and it would be, it would probably cause a massive problem, wouldn't it? Because Qui-Gon earlier even was like, well, let's take our issue to the Hutts here if you don't want to follow through with your agreement, Watto. And Watto was like, shit. Yeah, alright, just take them then. So I could only imagine. I know we get to see how the Hutts operate, or at least Jabba, in Return of the Jedi. I always thought this camera angle was a bit strange, like you're seeing it through 3PO's kind of eyes, and interesting idea. It's unique, it's different, but I don't know if that was the way to go. Once again, you could argue the fact that, you know, George Lucas, when it came to the prequels, he had full control. A little too much creative liberty here and there, but at the same time, you get a lot of interesting stuff out of it. Jar Jar being one of them.
Then we will see each other again.
And that's more or less the last they see of each other. They do meet again, but not in the greatest of terms or condition.
Oh my god, sir, wait, I'm tired.
Anakin, drop!
I'm gonna be real there. Darth Maul did not have the best plan when it came down to a sneak attack there. On top of that, couldn't he have jumped on board with them as well? I think that would have caused some major issues.
Your queen is lost. Your people are starving. Tuck him away.
I gotta say, like, even in the smallest of details, like, the droid throne that walks along and he just kind of sits in it, even that's pretty cool, man. The smallest of details.
You come from a warm planet, Anakin. A little too warm for my taste.
Even the worst of moments in Attack of the Clones are better than all of the Acolyte. Like, the best moment in the Acolyte could not compare to the worst moment in Attack of the Clones. And honestly, Attack of the Clones, I'm going to be probably making fun of that movie quite a bit. Oh my god, look at Coruscant! Just a stunning sequence, man. It really is. Look at this, man. Fucking so good. We get to see more of the Coruscant, like, Royal Guard. Yeah, the Senate Guard, or the Royal Senate Guard, whatever you want to call them. You don't see much of them in live action, but you see more of them in the animated series.
There is no civility, only politics.
Only politics.
Is not what it once was.
Another reason why I love Star Wars, the politics.
There is no interest in the common good.
I must be frank, Your Majesty. There is little chance the Senate will act on the invasion. If I may say so, Your Majesty, the Chancellor has little real power. He is mired by baseless accusations of corruption.
What options have we?
The best choice would be to push for the election of a stronger Supreme Chancellor. You
sounds like our current parliament.
For a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum.
Uh-oh. A vote of non-confidence in Chancellor Valorum. Here we go. Holy, this couldn't be any more on the nose with what's happening right now.
We must do something quickly to stop the Federation.
The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
Oh, boy, don't we have something to talk about there now that we finished watching The Acolyte. This is why Ki-Adi-Mundi should not have been in the show. It is just that simple. He has been conspiring against the Jedi this entire time. And that's why it makes it so inconsistent. He knows. He definitely knows. Now he's sitting there going, but they have been extinct this entire time. For a millennium. Yeah, whatever.
We will use all our resources to unravel this mystery.
With your permission, my master, I have encountered divergence.
And this is why it...
you say?
Located around a person?
The cells have the highest concentration of midichlorians I have seen in a life form. It is possible he was conceived by the midichlorians.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
I don't presume to.
But you do.
Soul was looking for a virgins. That entire group was looking for a virgins. The prophecy of the chosen one. A virgins in the Force, bringing balance to the Force. This is why the Acolyte does so much damage. These twins were conceived by the Force, a virgins in the Force. They are making Anakin not the first one. Watering down the whole idea of the virgins in the Force, the prophecy of the chosen one. The one who brings the balance. This is what the story is. This is what they are portraying, not just in the movies, but the TV show and the books. This isn't looking deeper into it. This isn't doing a deep dive. This is literally what they are telling you based on the information. And it's just so inconsistent. And this is what Disney has destroyed. From legacy characters to lore, to bringing characters in that aren't supposed to be there. Ki-Adi-Mundi wasn't even born yet, and they bring him into the Acolyte. This is why die-hard fans who have followed this stuff forever are not paying attention to it anymore. The whole prequel trilogy focuses on Anakin, the virgins in the Force, him growing up, going through the training of a Jedi, then turning to the dark side, becoming Vader, and heading into the original trilogy. Even the original trilogy, you could argue, focuses on Luke, but the story is Anakin.
Revealed, your opinion is.
I request the boy be tested, Mom.
Who is it?
I may never see her again, so I came to say goodbye.
We will tell her for you.
The chair recognizes the senator from the sovereign system of Naboo.
I love the Senate building. It is an amazing design.
Delegates of the Senate, a tragedy has occurred.
Which started right here with the taxation of trade routes and has now engulfed our entire planet in the oppression of the Trade Federation.
Is outrageous. I object.
object to the Senator's statement.
Does not recognize the Senator from the Trade Federation at this time.
To state our allegations, I present Queen Amidala, who speaks on our behalf.
Honorable representatives of the Republic, I come to you under the gravest of circumstances, invaded by the droid armies of the Trade.
I object. There is no proof. We recommend a commission be sent to Naboo to ascertain the truth.
Congress of Menace concurs with the honorable delegate from the Trade Federation.
Enter the bureaucrats, the true rulers of the Republic, and on the payroll of the Trade Federation.
Sounds like the RCMP.
Will you defer your motion to allow a commission to explore the validity of your accusation?
Will not defer. I've come before you to resolve this attack on our sovereignty now. Watch my people suffer and die while you discuss this invasion in a committee.
Oh!
This body is not capable of action. I suggest new leadership is needed. I move for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum's leadership.
Uh-oh. Gotta love the ETs.
Elect a new Chancellor, a strong Chancellor, one who will not let our tragedy continue.
They will not go along with you this time.
You still have much to learn, my young apprentice.
A cup. A speeder.
How feel you?
Cold, sir.
Afraid, are you?
No, sir.
See through you. We can.
Your thoughts dwell on your mother.
Your mother.
Afraid to lose her, I think. I sense much fear in you.
The John Williams hammer coming to slap down the YouTube channel.
We got a grand army. That's why you know liking us, Mr. Dinks.
Palpatine has been nominated to succeed Valorum as Supreme Chancellor.
Surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
He is to be trained then?
No, he will not be trained.
He is the chosen one. You must see it. I take Anakin as my Padawan learner. Obi-Wan is ready.
I am ready to face the trials.
Our own counsel we will keep on who is ready. Young Skywalker's fate will be decided later.
Qui-Gon, sir, I don't want to be a problem.
We have taken over the last pockets of primitive life forms. We are in complete control of the planet now.
I'm sending my apprentice, Darth Maul, to join you.
And those two control the pitch.
You catch on pretty quick.
Bit of foreshadowing to come. Anakin flying a ship, planting in there for things to come. Man, even the reflections of the trees on the ship and everything too, like, it's just, the attention to detail is so nice.
And I am grateful you think I'm ready to take the trials.
You've been a good apprentice, Obi-Wan. And you're a much wiser man than I am. I foresee you will become a great Jedi Knight.
I'm just making this up on the spot, Obi-Wan.
Some kind of fight, Mr. Dinks.
Do you think they've been taken to the camps?
When in trouble, Gungans go to sacred place.
You, sir, all bombard.
I am Queen Amidala.
Huh?
This is my decoy, my protection. I'm sorry for my deception, but it was necessary to protect myself.
Once again, the only one that I really feel like knew that from the get-go was Qui-Gon. He makes that comment at the Boonta Eve Classic.
No, I beg you to help us.
Yeah, classic. That's a pretty rough looking shot, I can't lie. That looked pretty bad. that one didn't age very well.
There's a comment!
Messages on the waterfall side. Once we get to the main entrance, Captain Panaka will create a diversion.
We are ready to do arson part.
If the Viceroy escapes, Your Highness, he will return with another droid army.
Well, that is why we must not fail to get the Viceroy.
It appears to be made up of primitives.
This will work to our advantage.
These crowd simulations are wild, man. Oh, it looks so good, dude. I don't know what it is with today's CGI. Everything, like, looks half-rendered, and then they just throw a blurry filter over it to try and make it fit into the rest of the shot. 25 years ago or whatever, if they had a CGI asset or render, they would just render it properly into the shot. Sometimes it didn't work, sometimes it did. But they didn't throw this blurry filter over it to try and make it work. Like, you could see the ship fine, you could see the droids fine. I don't know what effects they use now, filters or whatever, but it literally looks like they just took a pre-rendered thing, threw it in, and went, well, that looks okay. Let's make it look a little more realistic by just blurring it. You don't want to see any of the sharp details or shininess or gloss. We don't want to spend any extra time or money to make it look real like it fits into the scene it belongs in. So we'll just throw a blanket blur over it. I don't get it. Here, you could see every individual rendered shot or asset, and whatever is in focus on the frame, you could see fine, in perfect detail. Even the things right now behind this loading bay of droids that's getting dropped, the one behind it is only blurry because it's out of focus, not because they threw a filter on it. And that's what it feels like they have done. Just with CGI in general now. We're not going to take the time to make it fit in. Just throw a shitty-ass filter over it.
Ouch time.
Anakin, stay where you are. You'll be safe there.
But I...
Stay in that cockpit.
Anakin, don't make me kick your ass. Ah, shit. One of the greatest soundtracks of all time, in my opinion. God damn, so good!
Wrong one. Maybe it's this one. Nope. Let's
I wonder if this is what Yord meant when he said Anakin blew up the Death Star. There's no way Anakin honestly doesn't die in this whole interaction, this whole combat situation. I know, I get it, he's the chosen one. He's got R2 potentially autopiloting and helping, but I don't buy it for a second, man.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Recoil of the hand did not match up. He was just spazzing out there. It's actually a complete shock that Jar Jar also doesn't get completely annihilated in this battle. Through this entire storyline, he's a bit too goofy to be in this kind of scenario, let alone a general of a grand army. Fuck was that dog bark?
They win this round.
That was a rough blue screen shot. That was a very rough one of R2 looking back there. And, there he goes. Dying like you should when you get stabbed with a fucking lightsaber. Just pointing that out. Unbelievable. Reva gets stabbed once as a youngling and as an adult. Survives both times.
Your little insurrection is at an end, Your Highness.
Your occupation here has ended.
After her!
Those droids were just completely oblivious to what was going on. Her grabbing the pistols or the blasters and throwing them. He just stood there and watched. God, I love the energy of this fight, man. It's just, like, people are trying to say the Acolyte had better battles than this. than fucking this. My god, bro. The intensity is unmatched. The skill, the motion is just unmatched.
Take this!
We're losing power. There seems to be a problem with the main reactor.
Nothing can get through our shield.
His mouth wasn't even moving there. He was just speaking and nothing was happening.
We didn't hit it.
Now this is pod racing.
That's another classic line.
What's they doing? The control ship has been destroyed.
And gone to never be seen again. Oh wait. Oh, actually wait, never mind. Oh, I have some slight issues with the Clone Wars there, but as much as I love Darth Maul as a character, and him coming back in his presence and being an absolute badass throughout the TV series, the whole idea that he gets cut in half, falls down what looks like a never-ending shaft, and is able to survive simply due to his hatred for Obi-Wan Kenobi after he sliced him in half. I don't know, man. I don't know. But there we have it. Phantom Menace coming up to a close here very soon. Qui-Gon's death into funeral.
You're going to have to go back to the Senate and explain all this.
Kissing the Trade Federation goodbye. Except they get out with the get out of jail free card because they're back again.
We will watch your career with great interest.
Gotta love that subtle, like, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on you for many reasons. There's Kiadi Mundi again.
Confer on you the level of Jedi Knight. The Council does. But agree with your taking this boy as your Padawan learner? I do not. The chosen one the boy may be. Grave danger, I fear, in his training.
I gave Qui-Gon my word. Without the approval of the Council, if I must.
Qui-Gon's defiance I sense in you. Agree with you the Council does. Your apprentice, Skywalker.
I always found that part really weird. He knows 100% that Anakin's future is clouded, that the possibility is there, but just based off of Qui-Gon's wish, he gets what he wants.
What will happen to me now?
The Council have granted me permission to train you. You will be a Jedi. I promise.
Mysterious warrior was a Sith.
Always two there are. A master and an apprentice.
What's destroyed? The master or the apprentice?
I love that camera pan over too after that dialogue is delivered. And then you essentially get the A New Hope celebration, but on steroids. Like on absolute roids and a half. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? Ugh. There you have it. I actually feel cleansed just after watching that. The Acolyte has been washed away, everything that was. I'm still gonna complain about it and compare it to everything from the prequel trilogy, and when we get to the originals, my god, am I going to shit all over the Acolyte with what they were able to do all that time ago, and the Acolyte just pumps out the most pathetic piece of shit I've ever seen. Phantom Menace. Starting off in the mid category, as everything does. Like I said before, more pros than cons, it goes up in the list. More cons than pros, it goes down. That's why the Acolyte is where it is. Starting off at a 50%, there's definitely much more to be desired than there is to be thrown away. But the way I'm looking at this ranking, I have to have it be somewhat consistent. So King can only have one position. I have made it that Amazing can only have 2 and Great can only have 3. They can get a pyramid style of 1, 2, 3. People don't like Jar Jar. That's not my opinion. Most people would probably knock that down a peg or two just based off of him alone and some of the line delivery, which I could completely understand. There's a couple moments in that movie where the line delivery isn't the greatest. Not on the level of the Acolyte, but still not the greatest. Blue screen CGI moments that definitely don't hold up. Things like Jar Jar Binks not really holding up the greatest. A lot of those 3D animated asset characters not really holding up the greatest. But the story, the characters, others, well, if you like Jar Jar, you don't, but if you do, whatever. And just the overall fact that it's George Lucas Star Wars, the music, the cuts, the idea behind it, where the story is heading, I have to put it in that mid-good, that 75, maybe 76 to higher range. I'm going to put it at the top of the good category, just simply due to that alone. Now, I took off the rose-tinted glasses for this rating. If you wanted my rose-tinted glasses rating, it's like high 80s. Possibly even, I wouldn't say low 90s, but definitely high 80s. I love The Phantom Menace. I think that is a fair spot for it to be. This is also coming off of The Acolyte, too. Struggling to get through that. 8 episodes of that. My God. This was a breeze. This 2-hour movie felt like nothing. It was a breeze. Up next, though, we do have Attack of the Clones, and there will be some... It's kind of almost 50-50 in my opinion with how this movie goes. It's got some bad in it, it's got some good in it, but I kind of think there's a little more bad than good in it, to be honest with you. I still love the movie, but we'll see where it ends when I do a fresh rewatch